write the code in the pipeline syntax itself. So how we'll write those type of code? As we said, like in the pipeline, we can write conditions, we can write loops. Okay, whatever we want, we can write it. Okay, so how we can do that? Options. Just a second, guys. Hold on, 1 second. We're back. Okay, so okay, hello guys. Sorry for the disturbance. Okay, what we said. So we can write all those options in the pipelines. We'll see. Let me share my screen. Okay. I have logged into my Jenkins. So last class we saw how we can connect back to the different servers, and we'll see. Uh, choke ಮಾಡ್ದಲ್ಲ ಮತ್ತೆ? Okay, sorry guys. So, one second. Let me just connect to the repositories. So today we have to just see how the pipelines can be the real-time pipelines we have to write. Okay, so if you go to the repository one here, so you can see the same project. You go to the repository, and I have a few Jenkins files in the master branch. Okay, few Jenkins file in the master branch. So if I go to this Jenkins file 1.0 version of this Jenkins file, okay, suppose you are going to create a new project. So first thing, the what we have to do in the first, we have to just create a branch out of the master, as I already have told you in our classes, right? So let me just create a branch out of this master. So what I'll do, I'll create a feature called last class I had called a feature pipeline. Okay, and suppose 1.2. Now just create feature pipeline hyphen 1.2 here, and let me delete out whatever things is not required. So sometimes what happen, you have to delete the unnecessary things when suppose you received a complete entire project, and the project is kept all the files and everything is kept on the URL, okay, in the repositories. Sometimes what happen, you don't have to keep all the documents or keep all the files in the project folder. What you have to do, you can remove or delete the files unnecessary files. Okay, so what we can do, we can simply delete out all the things. Okay, I have created a new pipeline hyphen 1.2 feature pipeline project. Okay, 1.2. Now I will delete the things whichever is not required. Okay, so let me just this class path, let me delete, because this will be generated as part of the build. Okay, so let me quickly delete all these things. So that is why most of the guys they use locally, because while updating these things locally, what will happen, no? You can easily delete the things, because just one command you will delete whatever things you want. Okay, see this dot git ignore, I need to keep this dot ignore. Okay, keep it here, and let me delete out this project, it's not required, and it will be generated as part of the build process. Okay. So let me delete it out. And this files is not, yeah, this file is required. Keep it there. I don't need this file. Let me delete this. Commit the changes. All these files not required. Delete. It's up to you how you are working. Okay, so either you can just clone everything or check out everything to your local repositories, and there you can delete and then push back everything to the remote repository. So that is the best way to work on. Okay, as I'm just have opened this one, I showed you directly here. Now it is all clear, right? I don't have anything in this feature pipeline 1.2 branch. So what I have to do, okay, I don't have this Docker file required, but if it is there also not a problem. Still I need to clean it out, okay, if this is not required. Let me clean it out. Good. Now I have this Jenkins file hype underscore 1.0. What I have to do now, let me rename this file. Okay, let me rename this file. So how we'll do that? Okay, edit and just rename it to Jenkins file. Okay, remember the Jenkins file for pipeline automation should be Jenkins file, J uppercase and Jenkins file. So let me save this one. Okay, before committing it, let me explain all these things whatever is written. Okay, so we had seen how to create the jobs, and also we had seen how after build is success, how we'll deploy or deliver the end product like the war file or jar file to the remote server, to the staging server or production server. How we can achieve the same things in the pipeline, right? So if you see here, same syntax is being written here. Let me just move it out, something which is not required. Okay, first let me explain all these things and then I'll remove out which is things are not required. Okay, you know what is the syntax of writing the declarative method of pipeline. Here I have just written pipeline isn't any, right? Now what is the things here? We have used another section, another block here, that's called tool. Okay, that's called tool. And guys, be attentive whatever I'm telling and whatever I'm showing here. I will have, this pipeline has lots of bugs. Okay, we'll fix it and I'll show you how. And while writing the code, what are the things must be there and you should be careful while writing the code. Okay, here lots of bugs are there and we have to fix it. Now what is this tools? This tools is the tool which will be used to build the project. Okay, so in the tool sections, if you are using multiple other tools or multiple other plugins, okay, which is required like the external tools, okay, which are required the project to build or required the project to scan or whatever, so you have to place everything here under this tools block. As we are going to use the tools Maven, and this project is required to be built in Maven project, then I have given the Maven and the label local Maven. Okay, and here we are discussing one day, right, about the parameters and all, how we can pass the like argument while setting up this into the project, right? Using these parameter sections, we can parameterize the entire project. We can parameterize the entire project. So what will happen? We can pass whenever we will execute, whenever you execute or build the project, that time it will ask to pass the parameters. So sometimes what happen, if you are manually triggering something, if you are manually triggering something, then it will ask for the parameters. If we go to the Jenkins project, right? If I go to our first project, suppose first my first Java app v5, there we'll see in one of the tab, right? What is the tab? In the general section, we'll see One second, let it load. In the general section, right, you can see this project is parameterized. This project is parameterized. So what will happen, we can parameterize the project, means pass some argument or pass some values into this one. Okay, now if I go and click it here, so it will give you the hints what we can do. So what happens, parameters allow you to promote users or for one or more inputs. Okay, that means you're passing any argument or any values to the project, a new project is required, so we can pass using these parameterized options. So how you'll do, and what happens, for example, you might have a project that runs test on demand by allowing users to upload a zip file with binaries to be tested or whatever it is, right? All these informations you can pass it. And whenever you're passing the values, how you'll accept it, by using dollar and curly braces, then the parameter name. Okay, the variable name you have to pass it here. Similarly here, the variable for Windows you have to write like this, and for Linux you have to write dollar. Within the curly braces you have to pass the variable name here. Okay, now let me show you how we can do that manually. So if you click it here, it gives an options called add parameter. Okay, add parameter, and if you select it, it's just giving what type of parameter do you want to add, what type of parameter do you want. Okay, so if you want for a password parameter, it will be actually as hinted, and no, it will give in a star on all, like all these, right? So if you go file parameter, a run parameter, string parameter, all these things you can pass it out. This is the manual way you have to set up. Now how we can write these things in the, how we can write these things in a pipeline, right? So there is a block called parameters. You have to write within the parameters. You have to just pass here. You can see here I have just given as string parameters. Okay, string parameters. Similarly, if you go to the manual things, and you'll see the string parameters while giving. Just a second, I'll show you again. If you go and click this one, if you click this options, this parameter, and we'll have one string parameter, right? The same thing is given it here, the string parameter, string. And if you click on the string parameter, it will give this option, see, name, default value. Okay, so one parameter. So just save it. If you want to add another parameter, if you want to add another parameter, click again, add another parameter. Like this you have to do it. Fine, this is the manual way to set up the freestyle project. Now the same things here I have written as string, right? And I have given a key here. The key is name, okay, colon, value is tomcat underscore stage. This is the user defined, it's up to you what the name you'll provide it. Default value, this is the IP address, default IP address of the server, staging server. Okay, and description, any descriptions you can give it. Fine. Now what I need to get a server where I'm going to, so this entire project what I'm going to show you, it will be at a CI and CD. We'll do complete CI part, like we'll do build, test and everything, and then what we'll do, we'll upload or deploy this file into the staging server. Okay, now how we can achieve this, it's very simple. It will be like, what you have to do, simply get the IP address, right? I'll just make, I have made one server. Okay, I think last class I had made this server, we had installed Tomcat in this server, right? So I'm going to use this IP address.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we can use this IP address too. Let me just paste this IP address here. Okay, so this is the IP address of the staging server, suppose. And if you have a production server, normally what we don't do any direct staging and production deployment. Okay, so for example, I had given it, but for better understanding, let me add it as staging server 2. Okay, staging server 2, and you can provide the IP address of the staging server too. Okay, staging server, staging server 1 and staging server 2. So here you can provide it. Now these are the options you provided, what you need. And there are, see, it's up to you guys if you want to parameterized, because parameterized will be helpful and it will be easy to identify and track and provide the details in the within the automations or within the script within this the pipeline project, right? And if you don't want to give this parameter, that's well enough. We can directly use the value. We can directly use the value in the code itself. Okay, but here parameters, it will be helpful and easy to customize the things in our code, right? Now the next option is the triggers. The same things, if we go here.
But have you installed have you installed the Tomcat
Yes, I have.
already?
Yes, I
The
have it.
plugin?
Yes, I have installed Tomcat already. What I'll do, so Ibrahim, for you, I think it will be better if I install. Do you have any ideas how to install the Tomcat?
No, I have the Tomcat. I have it installed. I'm just asking for
Oh,
some
cha, cha.
for others, not for me.
Okay, yes,
Yeah.
it is already installed. So in our
Oh,
last to last class, I think one of the video, if you go through there, we already have installed
yeah, yeah,
Tomcat.
yeah, yeah. I saw it. Yes,
Uh,
yes. I have it in my machine here.
okay, good.
All right.
So that is already installed. So the next thing is we are going to use the trigger option here, right? The trigger option, if you see in the manual things, we have the build trigger, right? We have the build trigger, and here we have used poll SCM. The same things have been used here. Trigger, poll, SCM. Okay, so here 5-star I've given. So we, if you don't need, we can simply click it and it will go away. Now this is what within the first block you can put it the parameters like this, and another options also there. I'll show you here. That's called the environment variable. That's called the environment variable. Okay, suppose in the project what happens sometimes. Okay, I'll show you the environment variables later. Let me explain all this. Now a pipeline isn't, you put all the required informations, you're putting it here. Next we are going to put the stages. Within the stages we have multiple stages
Hello,
like,
sir.
yeah, yeah.
Sir, what is the benefit of parameters?
Okay, so this benefits of the parameters, right? Yes, listen.
Hello?
Yeah, yeah, you are
Yeah.
asking about these benefits of the
Sir,
parameters, right?
benefit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
See, we'll get lots of benefits like, see, if you parameters the things, these values, right? These values, whatever the parameters we are passing it here, sometimes what happens, these values will get changed, right? You will be not only working on one single server, you'll be working on multiple other servers. Sometimes your servers get changed, right? Or you'll be something you are using and which value gets changed. Okay, the parameters, the value, whatever the you are passing into the project, into the job, sometimes it gets changed. Better what you have to do, you have to just parameterize, because the same value is being used in this project here in the below. Okay, in your code, the same value, if you see, having used multiple times, right? If the same value has been used multiple times, suppose 15 and 10 times, so what you do, 10 times, if you suppose in future you are going to change the same value, you have to change 10 times wherever you find the key when need to be changed, right? But the same things, if you do parameters, what you have to do, you have to only change the one place itself here. You don't have to change entire code, so it will easy all our codings and all our codes, right? Also,
Sir, it's automatically change the below value.
yes,
Means,
obviously it will automatically change the below values. Also, I'll tell you everything how it works. Okay, I'll tell you how it works. It will change. See, whenever in normal programming, right? Whenever you are passing some value or some argument, what do we do? Either you will parameter it or you can pass direct value to the program. Okay, so whenever you are passing some a variable, suppose, what is a variable? What is a variable? A variable holds a value, right? A variable holds a value, right? If we want that variable to be used multiple times, same value. Suppose your name is Jyoti, okay? So multiple times in your project, Jyoti being used, okay? Jyoti, your name has been used in a project, and you don't want to write multiple times your name. What you can do, you can simply create a variable called name, save that value into the name, and use that name entirely all the code whenever or wherever is required. So how you'll access these parameters, I'll tell you, Jyoti, okay? How you'll access and how it will reflect.
I think it's better to just say as an initial to make it easy so someone will understand the variables. Like an initial. If your name is like, for example, Ibrahim Jalo, you just cut it like $,
Yeah.
so you already know.
Yes. So that's a different ways we can assign the variables. Okay, different no things like here. If you can see here, we have different ways like the name, right, and description, default value. All are the variables, and this values assigned to it, right? The same type. I'll also tell you when we'll discuss about the environment variables. Okay. Now, if we go to the stages, I have given here only two stages. Okay, I have given here only two stages. So what are the stages? First stage is to build, and the second stage is to deployment. And here we can see two ways. One is the it will be scheduled one after another. Okay, another one will be scheduled parallelly. It will run parallelly. Okay, I was talking yesterday in our last class, right? How to run exactly the runs parallelly, and what is the benefit of running the project parallelly, right? I was explaining if there are five servers or five things you have to five build to be run on the five simultaneously, right? It will take 25 minutes if you're breaking it down, and all those things are not each other. Okay, that time you can put them run in parallel. Suppose some jobs are running as Jyoti was telling, right? He was trying to create a downstream and upstream job, so we already have covered this downstream and upstream job. Sometimes what happen, your steps, okay, whatever the stages you have will be dependent on the another stage. So what happens? The stage which will require the upper stage to complete, then you cannot put those things in parallelly, because that always should go with simultaneously one after another. Okay, one after another, because that first job has to complete, then second one will start, right? If you know that all the stages whatever you're going to write is not dependent, any stages can run at any time, so you can put in parallel so that all the jobs will be scheduled parallelly and it will be executed and run. What will happen, we can save the time, because if you run it one after another, it will be taking suppose 25 minutes, and if you're running parallelly, it will take less than 25 minutes. It will take 5 minutes or 10 minutes, whatever it is. Okay, so that's why we have to put it parallelly. But before that, let me just explain what exactly we have written it here in the stages sections. Okay, this is the stages sections. Now here we have the stage build build stage, and here I have given a step. What I've done here in the step, as it is our the project is getting built on Unix machine or Linux machine, what is going to do here, we are going to use the sh command to execute it. So how to execute, you have to write within the steps, we can write sh ambient maven clean package. Okay, same things if we'll do it here in the Windows machines, how we'll do bat. Okay, bat scripts we have to do, you can just write ambient clean package. It will work for Windows machine. Okay, and this will work for Linux machine, right? If you want, you can just have a try at your home. If you have installed and going to run the project on Windows machine, you have to put it there. Okay. Now, what happened here? The steps we have given to build. After the build is done, so post what we need. So post means post of this particular step. Post of this particular step. Post build what we need. We need, okay, again in the post build, if it is success, okay, if it is success, then archive it. If it is failed, what will say? We can say failure. Okay, we can put it failure. On failure, what we'll do, we can just simply write, let's write something where this is failed. Okay, something I just write it here. On failure, success, failure. Okay, failure, echo the build is failed. You can write it that. So post success, if it is success, this is kind of conditions. This is kind of conditions. If you are putting if success, post, see this, if failure, go and print this one. Okay, you can write like this. Now let it put it only success here. The deployment, so this is the one stage is completed. In the next stage, what we have written it here, I have done two deployments parallelly because this deployment does not dependent on each other, and I want to deploy this project. Okay, what I'm going to deploy, I'm deploying this one to the Tomcat server. Okay, if you see here, I have given a block parallel. You have to write the parallel if you are going to run the stages parallelly. If you are running the stages parallelly, then you have to do like this. Okay, now what I can do for just a demo, let me remove it out. Let me remove it out. But instead of writing this command, because it will fail, we don't have a production server and don't have another server to do the demo. What I can do instead of this, but I'm going to show you the parallel things. Okay, like I can just write echo statement here, echo, just to print the statement here. Okay, echo, and I can just give like this is just a demo on production server, something I just wrote it to show you. Okay, that's all. I just wrote everything here, and all the stages being there. This is the stage what contains for the deployment, and we are running this stage parallelly so that both the jobs will run parallel. Okay, now let me explain this deploy to staging step. If you see here, in under the step I have used the sh again to execute the script, to execute the Unix or Linux command, to execute the shell command, right? So here what I have done, I have simply used scp, okay, scp to transfer the war file star slash start.war. So what it will do, it will just go behind one script and get the file there dot war file. Okay, and where the war file will be presented, guys, if you would have seen our last class, last to last class, we had generated the build, and where the war file and where the binary file will be placed, which folder?
in the target folder.
Yeah, we'll have in the project target. Every project will have a project target folder. Okay, so this is the Java build, as we'll have a Java project target folder and it's getting stored. It also again dependent, it's not always target folder, guys. What will happen, it is dependent on the nature of the project, and what are the technology being used, and how the developer has set up the product to be generated and where to be generated. It's up to them, but once you build it, you can easily find it out where it is placed. Okay, now I'm going to copy this file using scp command, secure copy, Jenkins, the username is the Jenkins, at the rate this params dot. Okay, what is this params? Using this value params key, params dot tomcat underscore staging. params dot tomcat underscore staging, and it is within the curly braces, dollar curly braces, and params. This is the parameter I'm going to call. So that's the short form I'm given params, and you have to giving like this, and the variable name. The variable name is tomcat underscore staging. So here is the tomcat underscore staging. So what happens? This will get the default value of this one. And then what I'm going to do, I'm just copying this to this folder, user say tomcat web apps. User say tomcat web apps to this folder. And you remember I had already shown you. So whatever things you are going to deploy into Tomcat server, the product should be the web applications, right? The web app should be placed under this web apps folder. Under this web apps folder. So let me just go there and check whether our Tomcat server is running or not. Let me just connect here. And here we had given, I think, 8282, something like that. Okay, let me just start the server, Tomcat server. Let me connect it. Download. So that server was what was the server? It is Amazon Linux, right? It should be ec2-user @IP address. Good. Yes. Now I connected to the server. Okay, let me see whether the Tomcat is installed or not. It should be under Tomcat. Okay, it is there. Fine. Let me see what is the status of this. I can simply use ps-s create Tomcat. So it is not there. So what I can do, I can go to the Tomcat folder there, Tomcat /bin. Okay, and here we will have this startup.sh and Catalina.sh, right? So let me start this server. Here we go. Okay. So here what happens? You have to pass the start or stop. Okay, Catalina.sh start. What happened? The Tomcat server is now started. So if I go and refresh this page, see our Tomcat server is now up. Okay, and it is running on port number 8282. And you know very well how to set up this port on the Tomcat server. Okay, now what I need. Okay, so if I go here, okay, this will be uploaded into the web apps folder. Now let me just go, and everything is clear about this code, guys, and there are many more things I'll explain you. Run this let me first run this one, and then I'll explain you the further things. Okay, now let's commit the changes, and I just updated this one. So what happened? Our project, let's go to the project. What was the project? The project was my first pipeline project, which was created yesterday. Okay, let me go here and let me modify it, reconfigure. Okay, so what do you have to do? Okay, because I created a new project, right? I created a new project with a new branch, so I'm going to execute this branch. What is this branch? Pipeline 1.2. So same things I have to update in this project to call out this pipeline 1.2 branch to build it. Okay, feature pipeline 1.2 it and save it. Before saving it, today morning Jyoti was asking how we can pass these trigger options. Okay, trigger options and post build options, right? Sorry, what Jyoti you are asking today morning?
Upstream project.
Acha, upstream project.
Actually, downstream project is
Okay, fine.
showing, but the upstream project not
Okay.
showing the option.
Okay, so That's why Jenkins provides what happens here. You have to set up this build trigger. This it's giving an option here. In the build triggers, you can set up whatever in the freestyle we have done it right. Same things you have to do this one also. Build after other projects are built. Okay, build other projects are built. So you can just
Sir,
simply click it.
this is the downstream. This is the downstream project.
Downstream project. Yes, this
Uh,
will be your downstream
I
project.
want to yeah, I want to do the upstream project.
Obviously if you create a downstream project, the project which is dependent, that will be your upstream project, right? You don't have to, there is
Okay,
no separate upstream jobs. You have to create a job which
okay,
will be dependent. That means automatically one will be upstream, one another will be your downstream.
okay. So
Got
actually, in freestyle project, there is option like post build option, and in this post build option, after build one option is there. Uh,
yes, after, okay,
After
after
build
build, after
means the
build,
project. Uh,
okay, I got it. After build start the, okay, after build start this project, right?
yeah, 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 yeah.
That is
But
your,
here, yeah,
okay, so that is
means
the post
project
build
A
section.
build. It means project A build. Then after the project, sorry, project. Then after the project B will start building.
Okay, let me show you that also. So you mean to say in the post build section, right?
Yeah,
Post build action.
post build section. There is an option uh, build other project. Yeah, build other project.
Where it is, okay, build, yes, exactly. What happens was, if you do this way also, build other project, that one what we are doing, that one actually we are setting the projects inside, sorry, outside, externally we are setting the projects, right, upstream and downstream. Every time in the build section, post build sections, if you choose this one, that means it will allow you to build another projects. If you have multiple projects, so what will happen, this project will be your upstream project and the other one will be your downstream project. Two ways you can set up, guys. One is the post build actions you can set up directly here, and the other one is to set up directly on the build trigger. Build trigger options you can, where is the build trigger options, you can set a build after other projects are built. That means this you are going to make it as dependent on another project. And here in the post build sections, you are going to start kickstart another build, and that build could be anything, right? You can kickstart another build. What is happened, okay, build other project, then you have to specify, like, see, the same things, same options are giving. Either you can set it off there itself, or you can set it off here itself. Okay, the only difference is you are making this project will be the upstream project, and the one which will set off will be your downstream project. Okay, that means this project is now dependent on that project. If you see here, same option, post build, whatever actions you are getting it, the same actions also you will get it here. See, the same actions you will get it here. Trigger only build is stable, and here same things. See, projects to build, you can get it. Only difference is that is you are going to make that one will be your downstream, and this one you are going to make it upstream. It's entirely based on your requirement, how you want to make the project to start. Whether you want that project to start finishing of another project, or you want to start this project first and kickstart the another project. Okay, what is the scenario well when you are going to choose this build other projects? Can anyone explain any scenario? Because you have to explain everything in the scenario based, right? If you are going for interviews, people and interviewer will ask you the scenario based questions. So Jyoti, just give me a scenario where you have to choose this build other projects. Why you should go for this one?
Suppose suppose we have two projects like project one and project two. If we go build post build project, then when I click the button project build the
No,
project one,
that is
then
the
after finish this the
uh,
project project 2 will automatically start.
Okay, that is okay. That is fine. That is what the total descriptions and
Steps.
total about this project. But what? Just give me a real time scenario where you need to use it. Okay,
Maybe one project's output, it is the input to another project. Maybe some binary it will take from
exactly.
here. So once it will get uploaded, it will be being used there. So maybe that could be a scenario.
Yes, that could be the real scenario, or there could be multiple scenario. That's why I was always telling based on your requirement. So whatever Tapan just said, right? It is, suppose you build a project and you need output of that project to be used by the other project, build used by the other project. In that case, you have to set off this one to execute the other build. Okay, sometimes what happens, we execute multiple builds, we execute multiple builds because one build is dependent on the another build. So in that case, we have to set off multiple builds to execute. That time you have to go for that. That's why I always tell you, be ensure that whatever you are just learning or writing or designing or anything whatever you're doing, make sure the things whatever you are doing, you are aware about that, and you should know better where to use and when to use. First thing, what is that particular thing and how to use that one, where to use and when to use. If you know this 4W, right? What, when, where, and how. Three, and if you want to use how to use, what is that actually, how to use it, where to use it, and when to use it, then everything will be easy for you, everything will be done. Okay, so all clear, you know how to use it both upstream and downstream. Okay, so any options, there will be multiple other plugins also available where you can use that options to do that also. Okay, now let me just go with the things whatever we had pending here. Okay, so we
Sir,
have
can you do this in pipeline project also?
no, that's why it is given in the that is what the pipeline, yeah, we'll do it. See, I'll show you that one. But in the pipeline project, what we have to do, we have to write the post section. That is why I just showed you the post build section, right? This is what we did it, right? Post build sections. On success, post build, right? On success, you just execute this part. On success, we just executed this particular part. And for the downstream job, we'll have a separate parameters. I'll show you how to use the upstream and downstream job separately without using the post. Yes, we can do that. Okay, but basically whenever you are creating the job, right, if you are going to create suppose pipeline job here, you can set it off directly here. One second, we have this, so this is the pipeline job, right? This is a pipeline project. What we have done, we have set it off here itself, build after other projects are built, set up. So whenever you are setting it off, okay, what you have to do, you need to understand first which project will be your upstream project and which project will be your downstream project. Suppose, let me tell you, Jyoti, suppose we have two pipelines project, pipeline project A and pipeline project B, and I want the pipeline project A to be the upstream project and pipeline project B to be the downstream project. So how I'll set up? Suppose if I want to pipeline A as upstream, so what I have to do? I have to just go to the pipeline B project. There I have to set up these options, build after other projects are built. So that pipeline B will be our downstream job and pipeline A will be our upstream job. Okay, suppose if you are going to make pipeline B as upstream, so what you have to do? You have to modify and set up the trigger options in pipeline A. You got it? It is the vice versa. It is the vice versa thing. You should know which project to be built after what project. That's all. If you know that one, that's why you, if you know everything, what project need to be built after another project and how to set up that. You have to simply come here and do the setups. This is a pipeline project, right? This is a pipeline project. You can set it up here. And writing the code in the pipeline Jenkins file is a different way. I'll show you that also. Okay? And it is the easiest way to do that, guys. And you can easily fix it up. That's why the pipeline gives all the parameters and tabs and syntax over here itself. Okay, here I'm getting only 4 tabs. Whenever I go for other pipelines, multi-branch pipelines, right, there will see multiple other tabs also available. And it is not necessary that we have to use all the syntax and all tabs. Okay, so clear, Jyoti? Yeah, Jyoti, it's clear?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, good. So let me just build this project. Okay, all the setups has done. Now we'll get lots of errors. I feel we'll get lots of errors. Okay, and we have to fix it. Okay, let me start building now. So build 5 is running and it is failed. Build 5 is running and it is failed. Let's see why it is failed. Go to the console output here. Okay, so there is a problem with this one. What happens here? Tool type Maven does not have an install of local Maven. What we have to do and where you have to set off this and why it is.
Sir, it's local underscore Marvin.
Why? How you
Means,
know this local underscore Maven?
previously configured in global tool.
Exactly. So that's what Jyoti find it out. So it gets whatever is given in the global tools options. Okay, so I use the tool and whatever the global tool options we have set up in the manage Jenkins field, right? That will be captured here. And in our script, we have what we are given. We have used tool as local Maven. But if I go to our, let me go to the manage Jenkins and global tool configurations. There we have configured Maven as local underscore Maven. That's why Jenkins is so talented. It is giving, you should use that one instead of this. Okay. If I go to the Maven settings here, and we have given as local underscore Maven. The Maven name is local underscore Maven. So what we have to do now, we have to just modify this one, right? Let me write it. Use local underscore Maven. Okay, now save it. And you know, here I have set up a trigger options poll SCM. Like after each 1 minute interval, it will scan and trigger. Only I have to just commit the changes and I'll just wait for the build to be triggered. If I go to this build and we can see our fifth build was failed, right? So just within 1 minute interval, another build will automatically start. That means the trigger based on the poll SCM, the trigger will happen, right? So we'll see or what you can do. If you don't want to wait for 1 minute, you can simply go ahead and click this build now. Let me go and click this build now. Will not waste time now. And you understand this poll SCM correctly, right? In our previous classes, I had already explained about the build trigger options, how to use it. Now build now. Click on build now option here. Okay, and the sixth build has started, and you can see all these options. It may fail again. Okay, what happens? Tools, checkout SCM, declarative tools, and it started the build. Okay, building is happening here. So next will be happening the deployment. Okay, and in the deployment we'll have two things will be running in the parallel. Just wait for it. I'll show you another good graphical interface. Okay, to see the outputs, console progress output, you can just go ahead and check. Okay, so it is first time everything is getting downloaded after the changes and all for the 1.2 branch. So that's why it is taking time to download everything. If you see here, it is getting downloaded and all the binaries and all the libraries and packages, okay, because that is required the project to be built. Now what we need here, just wait for a few seconds and you can monitor the output here. Sometimes what happens, your build takes more than hours. Some builds takes more than hours, so we cannot wait here and just check the logs, right? You cannot wait here and check the logs. What do you do? Simply run the project, and after the project is complete or fail or whatever, come here and check the console outputs. Okay, now let it run, and if I go here, so it will take some time. The build is still, and it is taking 1 minute 30 seconds already. It's taken. Okay, so you can see here, build is done. Next, started the stages deployment, but it ran parallelly, and deploy to staging is failed. That is what I also expecting. So how you will check the logs here? Click on this logs. You can check the directly log of this particular part. You don't want to see. If I go here in the console output, there will be hundreds of pages, right? There will be multiple logs, but I don't want. That's the beauty of this blue ocean. What open blue ocean, it will give you the specific logs of this particular failure, right? If I click this logs, just, and we got it, right? What is 7? By executing this, and it is failed due to the host key verification failed. And you guys know very well how to set up the password list, right? Key based authentication, right? With the public key and all, right? That was already been set up, right, with the Tomcat. Now if you go to the code here, okay, let me just go to here, and okay, let me show you other logs also. I just showed you one part. So fetches environment, okay, nothing is there. Let me close it out. Go to the console output. Okay, if you go down, and you can see here, to check the full logs, click on this full logs, entire logs, you will see it, right? Now it will have hundreds of pages, so better I'll go directly down. It's filled. It simply gives host key verification failed. Okay, it is because of the user Jenkins. Okay, let me deploy it as root. It should be deployed as root. Okay, what I'll do, I'll just go and modify this. What I'll do here, go to the script, okay, edit it, next root. Okay, commit the changes. Go here, let me start the project again, and this time it will be so quick. This time it will be so quick. Why so quick, guys? Can anybody answer why it will be so quick if I build?
Sir, it's already downloaded the to the our master server.
Okay, so where it will keep all the
Jenkins
files,
server.
all the files, where it will keep?
From the workspace, the Jenkins workspace.
Okay,
Workspace.
yeah, so it will download everything and keep in the workspace of that project. Of this project, it will download and keep everything there. So next time when the build will be triggered, what it will do, it will get the particular libraries and binaries from the workspace already, and then start building it. Okay, let me tell you one real-time scenario. Okay, in organization, sometimes what you have to do, you have to delete the workspace before your build starts. Why you have to do that? Sometimes you need to delete the workspace. Which scenario you have to delete the workspace? Whenever you are going to trigger a new build, sometimes you have to delete the workspace. Why? And which scenario? Okay, let me tell you. Sometimes what happens, the project you might need a new versions of binary or new versions of library to be used for the project to build particular versions. So what do you need? If you don't delete that, what will happen? That new libraries what you're going to use might not work because there are already one library available. That could cause the problem because the build will get directly, it will get it from the workspace and start building, and the workspace contains the old library, but you want the new library to be executed. So that time what you have to do, delete the workspace, build the project. What it will do, it will again download the new stuffs, the entire stuffs to the workspace and start building freshly. Okay, just remember these steps because we will face this kind of issues whenever you real time go and work on the Jenkins. We have to delete the workspace, and sometimes also we have to delete because the workspace contains once your build is success, right? Sometimes what happens, your workspace contains lots of junk, lots of things which is not required, unwanted things, right? Those things unnecessary will consume your storage, your master storage or whatever build server you are executing. It will unnecessary consume everything on your master server. The storage will increase. Okay, so there will be a household work checks are there every time. In the real-time organizations, what we do, we remove out the workspaces which are being 7 days old, 5 days old, or 2 days old workspaces to clean everything and get some storage in our server. Because you are not the only person going to work on the server, there will be multiple other resources in your company. They will be also working, right? There will be hundreds of projects. There will be hundreds of people will be working. So you have to, you'll create multiple jobs. There will be hundreds of jobs in the Jenkins, right? Fine. So now let me trigger it again. Okay. And this time you can see here, it gives options like build with parameters. If you manually click it, it will ask you to pass the parameter of this tomcat underscore staging, right? It's asking to provide the parameter. So you can pass the parameters like new IP address if you want, you can pass it. But this is the correct IP address. Now let's build. So if you go here, you can see our seventh build has started. It's again failed. It's again failed. Let me check. Okay, it says again it gets the targets your root server and it's not
Sir,
getting running
the
it
path
here. Okay.
is means root user slash share is hello
Yes, that's the correct one. Good finding, Jyoti.
OPT.
It should be OPT Tomcat, but again,
Yeah.
it is failing with a different error. It's not fail with the like path finding or directory not find or anything. It is failing with a different error, right? It fails with host key verification failed, which is related to the connectivity, which is related to the lost connection, which is related to the connectivity. But let me fix the path here first. Go here, and this is very good finding, Jyoti. So that should be, we have to change it to OPT. That's why I was telling we'll find lots of bugs in the code while changing it, and you have to do like this way. Multiple failures will get it and you have to fix it based on the outputs and errors you get. Check it. Okay, OPT Tomcat web apps. Now commit the changes. Okay, so before that let me before running and executing it, let me just go the output and fix this issue. Right, let me just do uh, to the login. Let me log into the master server. Okay, let me log into the master server, Jenkins server first. Let me log into the Jenkins server. Okay, and good. So where the workspace, so we have to go to the workspace and check, right? Okay, no need to go to the workspace. What do you know? We have to just execute the command. Execute the command. Whether we'll see whether we are able to connect to the server or not. Okay. So what we can do for a testing connectivity, we can simply use this one. Okay, and go here. Go here. Use. I can use myself as root. Test this one, and let me try with SSH. Okay. Okay. So it says permission denied. It says permission denied. So what I do it here, I have to set up a connectivity the between this server and the server. And another way we have to change something. In our last class, I think in our one of a project, I was changing the users Jenkins user. That's why also it is failing. Let me do two ways. I'll show you now. Let me do change the Jenkins user. Okay, let me change the Jenkins user. So where to change this one? And that will be this will be one of the administration work. Okay, you have to change the project to run on the Jenkins user. Now my project is running on the root user. I have to change this project by default to run on the Jenkins user. So how I'll do that? How I'll do that? Okay. Now what I do, because in our last class, right? Same thing. If you see here, what was the project in our first Java project we deployed, right? This project we have deployed already to our, if I go here configure it, and we already have deployed to the same Tomcat server. See, we already have used this container options to deploy, but while using the SCP copy options, it is not working. The connectivity between the things are working fine, but while using the, it's not working. Okay, now what I'll do it here, go to the cd user, okay, cd var var use var leave, okay, var leave, and here I think Jenkins will be there. Yeah, we have the Jenkins. Credentials plugin config.xml. Okay, it's not the config.xml. Let me just open it. It's not the config.xml. So we have credentials.xml, not an XML file. It will be a config file where we have to change it. Okay. Uh, Let me go out. Exit it out. Okay. Sudo Jenkins. SU Jenkins. So I'm into home Jenkins, right? Okay, so home Jenkins, let me just cd user library. Okay, it's not there. Okay, fine. So let me just fix the other way to set the public key between the servers. Okay, so what we'll do, use sudo make yourself root, and you know how to get that one, set the public key within the server and get access. So we saw now we don't have access. If we connect to the server, we are getting access denied, right? We are getting permission denied. So how we'll do that, how we'll fix it? Simply go to the root directory. Under slash root, you'll find one folder called .ssh, one hidden folder, and inside that we'll find the public key id underscore rsa.pub. If the public key is not there, you can use ssh hyphen keygen to generate the key. Okay, I think you already know that, or else we'll see in our Ansible classes, right? That time I'll show you details how to do that. Okay, but for the time being, just let me just copy the key, public key, okay, and log into the Tomcat server. Log into the Tomcat server, get the IP address of the Tomcat server. Sorry, okay, this is the Tomcat server, right? Log into the Tomcat server. Hyphen I. Log in the Tomcat server. Okay, hit enter. So it should not be slash. There should not be any slash. Okay. Okay, we are connected now. We should not give any slash here. Okay, we have to just use like this, and we are now connected. So the Tomcat server, you have to just make sure as you are on the root also. Same thing, you go to the root folder of Tomcat server. You'll find one folder called .ssh, and here we'll see one authorized key file, one authorized keys file. So what we have to do, just copy this, open this file, and whatever key, this key is related to the Jenkins server public key of the root user, public key of Jenkins server. What we'll do, we'll simply come here and paste it. Simply come down and paste it here. Okay, now we have this key, one key and two keys available. So I just pasted the root key here. Now save this file. You have to put the public key under these authorized keys. Okay, now if I go here, okay, if I go here and I'll just execute the command again. See, without anything, we immediately connected. We connected to the Tomcat server from Jenkins server. It's working. Okay, fine. Let me just exit out from the Tomcat server. Okay, now we are in this. Now let me execute the Jenkins build. Let's see what is happening. Okay, now let's go to the project and start build now. Build. So the build is happening now. Let's see what is happening. This time it is going through or failing. Oh god, it's failed again. Let's see what is the issue. I believe the same issue will be here. I said host key verification failed. It's running on Jenkins. Okay, let me just modify it back to Jenkins server. I'm just doing it. 1 second. Hold on. Let me change it back to Jenkins server. It will fail again. Okay, don't worry. I'm just checking it because it is running on Jenkins user, right? On Jenkins. Let me just execute it again and see. That's why whenever you fix up anything, you'll get lots of configurations and setup errors. You have to first fix it properly. It was working fine. Last class, I think I modified some configurations. That's why it is not able to connect from the Jenkins, and we have to fix it. Okay, same errors, same errors. We are getting the same host key verifications only. Host key verifications failed. Okay, that's not happening. Failed in branch to deploy staging. So this is what the failed in branch deploy to staging. Host key verifications. We are able to connect from the Jenkins server, right? What is the cd var leave Jenkins? Go here. We will have something job secrets login and users, right? This is a folder cd users. Let me go to this one. Users.xml. User content. Okay, nothing is there. Somewhere we need to change it out. Need to modify it. Secrets, jobs. That's on workspace. XML. Okay, it might not be. I'm not able to get the exactly where I had changed that one. Okay, I need to look it out. Where was the config changes was done last time? So that's why it is not working through the script. So let me fix it out this problem. And for you, actually, the task is to just do the same setups. What you can do, you can clone this or you can copy it from this repositories, try to modify whatever you want, okay, and then start doing the building through the project, okay, and we'll see how it is working. And in our next class, what we'll see, first things I'll just try to fix it, because sometimes what happens, the permissions issue and all, you need to reach out the administrator related to the permission. Sometimes the permissions will not be there if you're working on productions or working on a server, which is the legacy systems. You have to ask for administration help to get access to this particular server. But in our case, it should work, because I did some configurations, modifications, which is causing the problem. Let me fix it out today, and I'll show you how it works, okay? Because only the command is through the Jenkins, we are not able to copy the applications, right? We are not able to deploy the applications through the Jenkins, because this particular part is throwing permission denied. This particular part is throwing permission denied. I need to fix it up, okay? In our next class, I'll show you. So this is a task for you. So we already have 10:20 now. Let me quickly go through some other stuffs to show you. Okay. Now I was telling you about the environment variables, right? Environments. So how you'll set up this environment? How you set up this environment? So we can set up the environment here. Environment. Okay, environments. And you have to set up the value, the variable here. Suppose I'll give as name. Okay, Ranjit. Okay, something I'll give first name and last name. Okay, if name Ranjit, and some variables based on your requirement you have to provide it. Okay, fine. Okay, done. Now let me save it. I just put this environment. Now how I'll access this environment variables? You'll just have to use, let me use this one. As this will fail, let me comment out this one. This will fail, right? Instead of that, let me just, I will fix this one in our next class. Okay, I'll try to see what are the changes I have been made, or I'll try to fix it out this problem, the configuration administration problem, and I'll show you in our next class. Now for this environment variable, let me finish it out. We can, what we can do, simply we'll just put it as echo. Okay, this is made by, how I'll execute it, just give dollar sign here. Okay, use env dot, it is f name, env dot f name, and you can just give same thing here, env dot name. Okay, first name, last name. So this is just simple example I have given. Or sometimes why you need this environment, we, whenever you are going to work on the real-time project in the organizations, you have to provide the variables or parameters to the project, right? You have to create lots of variables. So the variables, whatever you are going to create it, the variable, suppose one real-time example is the version, right? Version of the applications. You can just give the version. You see, version. I can just give version, suppose 1.2, and I can see the environment, right? What kind of environment? And I can just give like system, right? System. This one is either prod or dev or whatever it is. I can give as dev. Okay. Um, I can just give it as done, and I can write another statement here. This is just, I'm printing it out, but these values can be used in other commands, and whatever commands or whatever things you are passing, these variables can be used. Okay, and this is just a demo and example. For example, I'm just giving how to access the value, how to access the variable to display the value. Okay, so I can show it here like version. um, it's running on, it's running on dev environment, so I can just use the value as env dot what is that, system. Okay. On dev, and the version is, env dot, give the version, what is this version, you got it, right? Because these versions could be used multiple times in your project. You don't have to change everywhere the versions if you hard coded it. If you hard code it, better you just provide the environments here, and next time if you want to change it, you can directly come here and change the environment variables to the versions. Okay, now let's go ahead and commit the changes. Now let's go to this project. Remove parameters. Anyway, it's not required. Build. It is started building now. Okay. It is filled with some syntax error. It's filled with some syntax error. So what was the syntax error? If you go down here, this is a typo. Here I forgot to provide a double quote. I started with the double quote, but I forgot to provide a double quote here. Okay, so you can see here this is a syntax error. What it says, expecting anything like cut it anywhere. It's not giving exactly what error is, but it gives the symbol here. We can find it out. So I let me edit it. Okay, you'll get lots of typo, lots of missing, lots of bug, and you have to keep patience and fix it. Okay, don't impatience, and if the like fits is on the middle way itself, you'll leave it if you don't keep patience. Okay, patience and start troubleshooting it. If you start troubleshooting, the many times you do troubleshoot, you'll get more experience, you'll get more expertise, right? As I told before. So just go here and let me just build it again. Let me go here and just build it again. This time, oh no, okay, it's not a build. Oh, it's failing again and again and again. Environment. Every time we are getting the typo. Okay, so here it is environment, not S, environment. Okay, environment. Right. Now let me save it. Go here and those parameters. Okay, this time there is no syntax error and we got success. So that's why careful about the syntax and typos and all, right? You'll get lots of typos if you uh, it's okay, typos are common because we are human beings. There will be lots of typos whenever you're writing, and make sure whenever you build it, it will fail and try to fix it. Okay, so you can see here and it is success now. And if I go and check the output here, right, if I go and check the output, see how the environment variables has been captured here. This is made by this guy and it is running on dev server version 1.2, and these versions could be used multiple places in your project, and this environment could be used multiple places. So you cannot each time hard code these, right? You would have heard about word called hard coded. Whenever you're writing some project or writing some code, some software, you were designing a software, writing some codes, you never do hard coded. Hard coded is dangerous, right? Why? Sometimes you need in some future, if you want to change something, if you have hard coded, it will be very difficult to change the part. What you do instead is place somewhere the variables are environment variables and go there some config. That's why you call the config the ini file. Place it there, change something there, and it will be worked. That's why we created the environment. So now you are clear about this environment section, right? This environment section, how we can place it here. Okay, there are a lot more things, guys. With pipeline, as I told, pipeline will take lots of time to work on that. There are lots of other things that there in the pipeline. In our next class, we'll discuss about after fixing this connectivity issue with the Jenkins server and Tomcat server. I'll start checking today here why it is failing and we're getting permission denied. There could be some administrative issues and all. I'll try to fix it out. And in our next class, we'll see how it can be done. Okay. So that's all for today's class, guys, and we can meet up tomorrow. Not tomorrow, sorry. From next.
Next